They didn't invite her to shine. They invited her to be a joke. It starts with the coach leaning on the ropes, smirk lazy as a yawn. "All right, people," he says loud. "Who wants to give King Marco a warm-up?" The room buzzes. Someone names Amara like a dare. A few laughs snap like gum. "Yeah, let the new girl try." Phones lift. Red dots blink. Amara doesn't flinch. She ties one last knot in her laces. Smooth and neat, like she's packing a secret. No speech, no eye roll. She just stands, lifts her old gloves, and walks toward the ring as if the floor owes her nothing. The coach lifts the rope for her with 2 fingers, still smiling. "Light work," he mutters. More snickers. Marco bounces on his toes. He plays to the crowd, chin high, arms loose, grin wide enough to sell a poster. "You ready, sweetheart?" he asks. His teammates hoot. A woman near the water fountain murmurs, "This feels wrong," and then looks around, unsure if she said it too loud. No one answers her. The cameras do. Amara steps through the ropes. The canvas sighs under her weight. Her face doesn't give a thing away. No anger. No fear. If anything, she looks like she's waiting for a train that's right on time. She taps her gloves together once. A quiet click. "Touch gloves," the coach says. Marco taps lazily, eyes already past her past the ring. The crowd presses closer, shoulder to shoulder. You hear gum smacking metal bottles, a nervous laugh trying to be brave. Amara breathes in through her nose and out through her mouth. Slow. She sets her feet. Southpaw. Marco doesn't notice. Or he pretends not to. He drops his left hand in a dance, and gives a wink to the nearest phone. "Don't post me if I make her cry," he jokes. The laughter comes easy. It does when the target is quiet. Someone whispers, "She's smaller than him." Another voice says, "But look at her shoulders." The hush sweeps in, then breaks. The coach raises a hand. 2 rounds, easy pace, he calls. His smile says otherwise. A bell sits on a table, nicked and dull, like how some here value women. The manager taps it once. The sound is sharp, hungry. Amara rolls her neck left, then right. Her eyes lock on Marco's chest, not his grin. "Hey," a kid by the door says to his mother, "Is she gonna be okay?" The mother doesn't answer. She records. Her first bell waits, heavy in the air. Heat climbs the walls. Sweat smells like metal. Amara shifts her weight a half-inch forward. It looks like nothing. It changes everything. Marco flashes his teeth one more time. "Ready?" he said. She nods once. Calm. Precise. The laughter curls back on itself, unsure where to go. Somewhere, a timer blinks red, counting down the moment everyone will remember forever after tonight. The bell is about to sing. Most people in that gym had never heard her name. Amara was the kind who slipped in after the evening rush, when the noise had drained from the room and the floor smelled faintly of bleach. She trained like a shadow, jump rope humming in the corner, bag work so precise it sounded like a drumline no one noticed. She never sparred in front of the regulars, never asked for a partner, never looked like she was here for their approval. Now, with every eye on her, that quiet history felt like a trap the room had walked into, without knowing. Marco bounced on his toes, grinning, soaking in the attention. The sweat on his brow was more from the warm-up than any nerves. He looked her up and down like he was assessing a mannequin. Light, dismissive. Amara set her duffel on the floor. The zipper stuck for a moment, and she tugged it free with a slow patience that almost read as indifference. She reached inside and pulled out a pair of gloves so worn the leather had thinned to softness. The stitching was frayed near the thumbs, but they were clean, cared for. On the side of the bag, an old African flag patch clung stubbornly, its colors faded but proud. She slid her hands into the gloves with a steady rhythm, tightening the straps herself. No one stepped forward to help. She didn't ask. Across the ring, Marco rolled his shoulders, glancing at his coach as if to confirm this was still a warm-up and not a threat. Her eyes found his, not darting, not hesitant, just locking in, as if she'd been looking at this exact stance for years in her mind. She didn't scan the crowd, didn't give them a smile or a sign of nerves. Her gaze stayed on Marco, reading him like a book she'd already half finished. The noise around them softened, but not from any real respect, more from curiosity. It was the kind of pause you hear before a street musician starts to play, when the crowd isn't sure if they should care yet. Someone near the heavy bags whispered, "Where's she from?" Another answered, "No idea. I've seen her a few times. Real quiet." Marco gave a little laugh, almost to himself. "You box much?" he asked, voice playful but edged with condescension. She said nothing. The coach smirked and clapped once. "Let's go, people. Round 1 coming up." Amara finished fasting the last trap, then rolled her wrists, feeling the leather shift around her knuckles. The gloves looked like they'd been through more fights than anyone here had watched. Marco took one last bounce, clearly expecting her to break eye contact first. She didn't. That silence between them had weight now, pressing into the space like a storm building just offshore. No one knew her name yet. They were about to. The bell snaps through the air, and Marco springs forward like a showman, light on his feet, chin high, gloves loose. He circles her, tossing half-speed jabs, just enough to graze her guard. Each one lands with a tap, not a thud. The crowd laughs, not at the punches but at the theater of it. They think they're in on the joke. Amara takes each shot without blinking. She doesn't chase. Doesn't bite on his feints. Her arms move with small, precise shifts, deflecting what needs deflecting, letting the harmless shots touch. She breathes slow, her chest rising and falling like she's jogging, not fighting. Marco flicks another jab, chuckling under his breath. "Gotta move, sweetheart," he says. She hears it, but it's just noise. Her eyes track everything, the way his lead foot always drifts too far left when he jabs, the dip of his shoulder before he throws a hook, the extra beat he takes after landing a combination. She's not reacting to the crowd. She's not reacting to him. She's collecting. A hook sails past her cheek, close enough that she feels the air shift. She leans just enough to avoid it, then slides back into range without countering. Someone near the rope scoffs. She's scared. Another voice, quieter, says, "No, she's waiting." Marco bounces, plays to the people recording, tossing quick jabs that make the crowd murmur approval. The room is bright and loud, but for her, it's starting to fade. She's hearing only the sound of his feet, the rhythm of his breath, the brief silence between the snap of his punches. He doubles the jab. She blocks one, lets the second graze her glove. No flinch, no rush. Her shoulders stay loose. Her eyes never leave his chest. A few people begin to notice she hasn't thrown anything yet. When's she gonna hit back? Someone says. Phones are still up, but the laughter isn't as full. Marco tries a playful shuffle, flashing a grin that's already less certain. She shifts her weight, just enough to make him reset. The seconds tick, the noise swells, and still she hasn't fired a single shot. She's not here to win the first minute. She's here to own the rest. Marco comes forward again, a little quicker now. The crowd eggs him on. He steps in with a lazy jab. Shoulders open, chin high, the exact mistake she's been waiting for. Her left glove moves like a camera flash. A clean, short hook snaps across his jaw, the sound sharp and undeniable. His head jerks to the side. His back foot stumbles half a step. The crowd's laughter cuts off mid-breath. For a moment the only sounds are the timer ticking and the faint hum of the overhead lights. Phones keep recording, hands tightening around them. Someone whispers, "Oh!" under their breath. Amara doesn't press. She resets her stance, feet planted, guard high, breathing steady. Her expression doesn't change. Marco blinks, adjusting his mouth guard with his tongue. The smirk he wore a second ago has vanished. His coach leans forward on the ropes, his grin gone too. "You okay?" one of his teammates calls. It's meant to sound like a joke, but the edge in his voice betrays him. Marco tries to chuckle, shakes his head as if to clear it. He bounces again, but it's different now, tighter, more cautious. Amara's eyes are sharp, cutting through him. She doesn't speak, doesn't need to. That one punch has already rewritten the air in the room. He throws a jab-cross combination. She slips the jab, blocks the cross, takes a small sidestep, and is back in front of him before he finishes turning. The crowd is watching differently now. Some lean forward. Some lower their phones a little, as if they don't want to miss this with their own eyes. Marco fakes low, throws high, trying to catch her off guard. She tilts her head just out of range and lets the glove pass harmlessly by. The smallest of smiles flickers across her lips, so quick most miss it. He exhales sharply through his nose, frustration already brewing. He thought this was going to be fun. Now it feels like work. From the corner, the coach calls. Pick it up, but his tone has shifted from playful to warning. Amara adjusts her stance again, light on her feet, eyes steady. She's not chasing him. She's letting him walk into his own mistakes. The clock ticks toward the end of the round, but nobody's counting. They're waiting. Marco bounces in. Overextends on a hook. She doesn't punish it, not yet. She just shifts back. Makes him miss, makes him know he missed. The crowd can feel it. Something has changed. She's not just in this fight now. She's in control of it. Marco comes in sharp. A quick jab, then a right hook, then another jab. Amara's head tilts just enough each time. Slip, 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 and not a glove touches her. The crowd makes a sound that's part gasp, part disbelief. Before he can reset, she drives a short, solid shot straight into his ribs. The sound is quiet but heavy, the kind that travels through bone. Marco's face flashes pain before he can hide it. His back foot drags as he retreats a step. There's no laughter now. The air feels tighter, as if everyone is holding it in. The coach's smirk has flattened into a thin line. Phones are still up, but no one's recording for a joke anymore. It's instinct now, the feeling that something worth remembering is happening. From somewhere in the back, the voice says, "Oh, she's for real." The words land like a verdict. On the other side of the world, in living rooms and bedrooms, people are already typing furiously. The live stream's comment feed scrolls so fast it's unreadable. Who is she? She's working him. This is beautiful. In the ring, Marco tries to disguise his caution with movement, but Amara is inside his rhythm now. Every feint he throws, she reads before it's finished. Her guard moves with the smallest economy, a turn of the wrist, a step to the side, always just enough. He comes forward again, pushing the pace, but she taps his glove away like brushing off a fly, then circles out, making him chase. He's no longer dictating the fight. The people closest to the ring have stopped smiling. Their eyes dart between the fighters, unsure what they're witnessing but knowing it's not what they expected. Marco exhales hard, sweat dripping from his brow. He bounces once, twice, but it's an act now. The confidence has thinned. Amara stands still for a second, just watching him. The crowd shifts in that pause, feeling the balance tilt. In the live chat, a comment sticks. She's been waiting for this moment her whole life. Thousands of likes pop up beneath it. Marco lunges again, looking for something big, something to take the air back. But she's already gone, stepping to the side, watching his punch sail into the empty space where she used to be. The murmurs in the room grow. The sound is low, spreading through the crowd the way fire crawls across dry grass. It's not just that she's winning moments. It's the way she's doing it. Calm, exact, as if she knew from the start this was how it would go. Someone near the ropes lowers their phone just enough to whisper, "We're watching history." And in a way, they are. Between each movement, Amara's mind opens like an old scrapbook. She sees flashes, not of this bright gym, but of dimmer places. A kitchen so small 2 people could barely pass each other. The smell of fried onions clinging to the curtains. Her father's voice, low and steady. "Keep your chin down. Don't waste punches. Make 'em count." She was 9, barely tall enough to see over the table, when he first wrapped her hands in makeshift cloth strips. The gloves back then were hand-me-downs too big for her wrists. She grew into them before she grew into the rest of her life. At school, in every sport she tried, she heard the same thing. "You're good for a girl." On the track, on the court, in the gym. Coaches smiled while benching her for boys half as skilled. She remembers one basketball game where she scored more points than anyone on the floor, and still got told she was too aggressive. The boys were called competitive. In the ring now, Marco steps forward, throwing a jab to her head. She blocks, counters with a jab of her own. Sharp, exact. The memories shift to high school, the day she signed up for a youth boxing program at the rec center. She trained with kids who thought it was just for fun. She didn't. She stayed after class, hitting the bag until her knuckles ached through the wraps. Her father came to every match he could, sitting in the back, nodding once after every win, shaking her shoulders gently after every loss. "Wins feel good," he'd say. "Losses teach more. Don't waste either." Marco tries a looping hook. She catches it on her glove, pivots and answers with a straight right to his body. Years of repetition in that cramped kitchen flow through the punch. She remembers the first tournament she should have won, the decision going to the other girl, whose coach slapped hands with the judges before the bell even rang. Her father squeezed her hand and whispered, "They can't take the work from you. Just the trophy." Another jab lands on Marco. His breathing is heavier now. The years pass in quick flashes. Early mornings before work, shadow boxing by the window, running in the rain when everyone else stayed inside. Hearing the same dismissals, the same underestimates, the same tired disbelief. And now here she is, in front of a crowd that didn't know her name 15 minutes ago. A live audience in the thousands, strangers watching her dismantle someone they thought was untouchable. Every block, every slip, every counter carries all of it. The hours, the refusals, the hunger. Each strike is a quiet sentence in the story she's been writing her whole life. And tonight everyone's finally reading it. The sting of humiliation shows in Marco's eyes now. That easy, playful grin is gone, replaced by a tightness in his jaw. He comes forward hard, snapping a right hand at her head. She slips it clean, her guard already in place for the follow-up. Another flurry hook, uppercut, jab. All muscle, no patience. She turns each aside, her gloves meeting his just enough to blunt the impact, her feet gliding out of range. The crowd feels the shift. This isn't warm-up speed anymore. This is him trying. But the harder he swings, the calmer she gets. Her shoulders stay loose, breathing even. She starts edging forward between exchanges, cutting the ring off inch by inch. Marco notices too late. He throws another hook, and she steps inside it, jabbing to his face, then digging a shot to his body. He backs up, almost colliding with the ropes. The coach's voice snaps from the corner. "Move! Get out of there!" It's sharp now, stripped of the earlier smugness. Marco pivots, but she's already there, meeting him with a stiff jab. He tries to fire back, but his punches aren't landing clean. Every miss makes the crowd lean in more. Gone is the casual chatter and bursts of laughter. Now there's only a low hum of voices, the sound of gloves hitting leather, and the squeak of shoes on canvas. She feints low, and he bites, dropping his guard just enough for her to clip him with a short right hand. His head snaps, not violently, but enough to make him blink hard. The ropes brush his back again. He shoves forward to escape, but she meets him halfway, pressing him back with a steady rhythm. Jab, jab, hook to the ribs. The coach's face tightens with each second. His arms fold, jaw clenched. This wasn't supposed to happen. Marco tries to rally, firing a wild combination. She blocks most of it, lets the last punch slide past her ear, then answers with a clean shot to the body that takes the wind out of him. He's breathing harder now, hands dropping just a fraction lower between punches. She sees it. The crowd sees it. The cameras definitely see it. He spins off the ropes, but she cuts him off again. No rush, no waste. Just pressure, constant and quiet, until the only way out is through her. And right now that's looking impossible. The bell cuts through the noise, sharp and sudden. Marco backs away fast, shoulders heaving. Sweat rolls down his face in thick lines. He looks to his corner for instruction, but they're busy with damage control, water bottle in hand, towel out, muttering quick, clipped words. Amara turns without hurry, walking to her stool as if she's finishing a light workout. She sits, elbows on her knees, head slightly bowed. Her coach, if you could even call him that, a quiet man who rarely speaks in these sessions, hands her a bottle. She takes a sip, swallows once, hands it back. No deep gulps, no desperate breaths. Her gloves rest on her thighs, still steady. She doesn't look at Marco. She doesn't look at the crowd either. Her gaze is fixed on some point beyond all of them, like she's already thinking about the next round and nothing else. Across the ring, Marco leans forward on his stool, spitting into a bucket, sucking air through his mouthguard. His teammates' faces are pale. This isn't the man they brought in to entertain the crowd. The noise in the gym has changed. Nobody's laughing now. The air feels charged, like before a storm breaks. Conversations are whispers, punctuated by the clicking of phone screens as people check the footage they've just captured. Online, the live feed is exploding. Viewers have already clipped the last minute of the round, replaying the moment she drove him into the corner. Slow motion edits show the body shot that bent him at the waist. Comments flood in. She's surgical. Look at her footwork. This was supposed to be a joke. A popular sports account reposts the clip, mid-round break, with the caption, "The woman they tried to embarrass." It's already racking up shares. In the gym, A young kid tugs his friend's sleeve. "She's not even breathing hard," he says. His friend just nods, eyes locked on her. Amara tilts her head once, rolling her neck, then exhales slowly. She doesn't smile. She doesn't gloat. This isn't a celebration for her. It's an execution of a plan she never said out loud. The bell for the next round is coming soon, but in this moment, the crowd is still living in the last one, stunned, silent, scrolling back on their phones to watch her work again. The cameras pan across the ring. One frame catches her eyes. Calm, cold, certain. Somewhere in the comment section a line rises to the top. She's not here to win the round. She's here to end the story. And by the look of her, that's exactly what she's about to do. The bell rings again, sharp and metallic. This time, Amara doesn't wait. She steps forward immediately, popping a jab right between Marco's gloves before he's even settled into his stance. The snap echoes in the gym. Before he can react, another jab follows, then a hook to the body that makes him grunt and fold slightly. Her feet are quiet, but her hands speak in sharp, precise bursts. The short uppercut catches his chin, snapping his head back just enough to make the crowd exhale in unison. Marco tries to rally, swinging a hook meant to push her back. She slips under it, pivots, and lands a counter to his ribs. His breath leaves him with a hiss. She doesn't give him space. Every time he steps back, she steps in. The jab lands high. Another digs low, then a right cross slams into his guard, forcing him to stumble sideways. The sound of leather on leather fills the room, mixing with the occasional thud of glove on flesh. The noise bounces off the walls, a steady percussion of dominance. Marco's pride is on the line now, but his arms are slower, his eyes struggling to track her angles. He tries a quick 1-2, but she parries both, answering with a three-punch combination: jab, hook, uppercut, each one finding its target like a blade sliding into place. The people closest to the ring lean in, forgetting to record, caught up in the precision they're seeing. This isn't sparring anymore. The word spar suggests something light, something safe. This is something else entirely, a dismantling in real time. The coach's shouts grow louder, sharper. "Circle, get off the ropes." But Marco can't. She's dictating the geography of the ring, forcing him wherever she wants him. A jab snaps his head back. A hook digs into his side. Another jab, another hook, another cross. Her rhythm is relentless, but never sloppy. Every punch is chosen, every angle deliberate. He swings wide, desperate for something big, but she's already gone, making him miss by inches. The miss costs him more energy than the landed punches do. She cuts him off again, traps him near the corner, and keeps him there with steady pressure. His gloves stay high, but his body tells the truth, weight shifting back, feet heavy, breathing rough. The crowd knows what they're watching now. It's no longer about whether she belongs here. It's about how much longer he can stand here. The bell hasn't rung yet, but the round already feels decided. Marco's guard is up, but it's leaking. Amara steps in, feinting a jab to the head. He bites, raising his gloves just high enough for her to drive a hook into his ribs. He winces, tries to pivot out, but she's already there, cutting off the exit. A quick jab stings his face. The right hook rocks him sideways. The crowd makes a sound halfway between a cheer and a gasp. She doesn't let him breathe. Jab to the face. Left uppercut to the chin. Right cross straight down the middle. Each shot lands with that unmistakable sound of glove meeting target. A rhythm that says control, not chaos. Marco stumbles back into the ropes, his legs momentarily unsure of where to go. The impact isn't violent enough for a knockdown, but it's enough for the crowd to lean forward, eyes wide. The coach is shouting now, commands tumbling over each other, panic threaded through every word. Amara steps back just enough to let him off the ropes, then steps right back in, like she's reminding him who decides where this fight takes place. The bell rings. Marco drops into his corner, chest heaving, sweat dripping from his chin. His teammates move quickly. Towel, water, whispered advice that sounds more like pleading. Amara walks calmly to her stool, the way a surgeon might walk away from a finished operation. No wasted motion. No triumph in her face. Just the quiet focus of someone who did exactly what they planned to do. In the crowd there's a hum, the kind that says people are already talking, already framing the story they'll tell later. But outside these walls the story has already begun to travel. On the live feed, someone clipped the final exchange. The hook, the uppercut, the right cross that sent Marco stumbling into the ropes. They slowed it down, replaying the moment his eyes widened just before impact. Within minutes the clip jumps from one account to dozens. Hashtags bloom like sparks. The woman they mocked. Real champion. Remember her name. A sports blogger tweets, "She just broke him down in front of everyone. This is art." It's retweeted thousands of times before the round even ends. By the time Amara sits in her corner, people across the country are seeing her face for the first time mid-combination. Eyes locked, expression unshakable. In bedrooms, in bars, on subways. Strangers lean over each other's phones. "Who is she?" they ask. No one here has the answer yet, but they're all about to find out. By the time dawn stretches over the city, the fight lives far beyond the gym. Sports pages have already claimed it. The biggest accounts post the clip with bold white captions. They laughed at her. Then this happened. The thumbnail shows Marco mid-stumble, ropes at his back. Amara's glove frozen inches from his face. Her eyes locked on him with surgical calm. The video spreads like a lit match in dry grass. Podcasts cue it up before their coffee's even brewed. Some treat it like sports commentary. Others call it something bigger, the moment that cracked open the surface of boxing's old boys club. On one popular morning talk show, the host leans toward the camera, voice measured. "This is not just about boxing. This is about how institutions decide who belongs, and how wrong they can be." Clips of that segment get chopped and posted on TikTok before the show even ends. Debates ignite in every corner of the internet. If she's this good, why wasn't she on the card already? Would they have put her in the ring if they'd known she'd win? Why do they always underestimate women until it's too late? The gym tries to smother the flames. They post a statement on their social media. It was a light-hearted sparring session, mutually agreed upon by both fighters. But the comments section becomes a battlefield. Under their post, someone uploads the clip again. Time-stamped at the moment Marco winks before the first bell. "Mutual respect?" The caption reads. Another shares the coach's smirk in the background, writing, "We all know what this was." Even without words, the footage speaks for itself. It's in her eyes, in the way she stood still after each exchange, in the way the room's laughter died before the first round even ended. By midday, it's impossible to avoid. Sports journalists dig into the gym's history. Old fighters step forward, sharing stories of being sidelined, talked down to, or flat out ignored. Each account adds weight to what the world just saw. In offices, people crowd around laptops to watch. In school cafeterias, kids show the clip between bites of lunch. On buses, strangers share earbuds so they can hear the commentary. What started as a joke in a small gym has grown into a mirror, one the entire industry is being forced to look into. And in every replay, she's the same. Silent. Unshaken. In control. By nightfall, Amara's phone is a storm. Her inbox is stacked with unread emails. Her social media DMs overflowing. Interview requests from networks she's never watched. Sponsorship offers from brands that never returned her calls years ago. Buried between them are messages that matter more. A girl from Detroit. "You made me sign up for boxing today. I'm scared, but you made me think I can do it." A woman in her 40s. "I quit the sport because I was told I was too old. Seeing you reminded me I still have fight left." She scrolls slowly, eyes catching on certain words, respect, dignity, power. But she doesn't respond. Fame was never her goal. She's been here before, not the attention but the fleeting interest of people who don't stay when the headlines fade. Still, one message sticks. It's from Layla, a former teammate she hasn't spoken to in years. "I saw the clip. Remember when we both got benched so the promoter could put his nephew in? I never forgot that. I'm glad you didn't stop." Amara stares at the screen for a long moment. She remembers. The sweat on her back after hours of drills, only to be told she'd be in the next fight, that never came. The quiet humiliation of knowing decisions were made long before she ever stepped into the ring. She puts the phone down, but the words stay with her. Silence has always been her shield. Keep your head down, let your work speak, don't give them more to twist. But now she wonders if that silence has protected her, or protected them. The notification pops up, a journalist asking for comment. She ignores it. Another, an activist group wanting her at a panel. Another, an old coach, suddenly congratulating her. Her kitchen table is scattered with unopened mail and a half-empty mug of tea gone cold. She sits back in her chair, hearing her father's voice in her head. Wins feel good, losses teach more. Don't waste either. This win feels different. It's not just hers. The messages make that clear. Somewhere out there, people are walking into gyms tonight because they saw her stand her ground. She picks up her phone again, not to answer the big outlets, but to type a reply to Layla. I remember. Maybe it's time we talk louder. Her thumb hovers over send. For the first time in years, the idea of speaking, really speaking, doesn't feel like a risk. It feels like the next round. Alone in her apartment, Amara sits with the quiet. The glow of her phone lights the table, but she's not scrolling. She's thinking. The kind of deep, heavy thinking that pulls you backward before it pushes you forward. She remembers the coaches who praised her skill in private, but never entered her in the big bouts. You'd be a crowd favorite, they'd say, but women's boxing doesn't sell. She remembers promoters who smiled while telling her she was too small for certain fights, only to book smaller men instead. She remembers the promises, the calls that never came, the contracts that vanished, the times she trained for months only to watch the slot go to someone with the right connections. Anger stirs in her chest, familiar and sharp, but it doesn't take over. Beneath it is something steadier, heavier, a responsibility. She knows this moment isn't just hers. It's being carried now by every girl who's been told to stay quiet, every fighter who's been treated like an afterthought, every athlete who's been underestimated until the day she wasn't. If she lets this pass without speaking, the old cycle will just keep turning. And that, she decides, won't happen. By morning, the gym has gone on defense. Their official Instagram page posts a neatly designed graphic in black and gold. The caption, "It was a lighthearted sparring session, mutually agreed upon by both fighters. We celebrate all athletes here." The comments section erupts immediately. Lighthearted? One user writes, reposting the moment Marco winked at the crowd. This was humiliation until it backfired. Then the leak hits. Screenshots of a private group chat between gym staff spread online, messages sent just an hour before the match. Put her in with Marco, watch him humble her. Hope she doesn't cry too hard. The timestamps match the day of the spar. The screenshots go viral in minutes. Sports blogs run headlines. Gym staff mocked fighter before viral bout. News anchors mention it during evening broadcasts. Public opinion turns like a tide. The statement that was supposed to calm the waters now looks like a lie. Sponsors start pulling their logos from the gym's website. They'd hoped to control the story. Instead, they just confirmed it. By the end of the week, the clip isn't just a clip anymore. A former world champion posts it on her page, writing, "We've all been her. Underestimated. Dismissed. Not anymore." It racks up millions of views. An activist group calls for an independent investigation into the gym's hiring and training practices. They cite not just the leaked messages, but testimonies from other fighters. Women and men who claim they were pushed aside for less skilled favorites. Celebrities add their voices. A famous actress tweets, "I don't even follow boxing, but I know bias when I see it." A Grammy-winning musician posts the clip to her Instagram story with the caption, "Pay her. Put her on the main card." Sports journalists begin digging deeper. Articles surface detailing the gym's long history of sidelining women in their training program. Former fighters speak on the record, recounting similar jokes that left careers derailed. The narrative shifts again. It's no longer about one fight. It's about an entire system that made that fight possible. The casual cruelty, the institutional gatekeeping, the quiet expectation that no one would speak up. Amara stays silent publicly, but she sees it all. Her face is on TV segments, her name in headlines. People call her a trailblazer, a hero, she never asked for any of it. But whether she wants it or not, she has become a symbol, one the industry can't easily ignore. And the louder these voices get, the harder it will be for anyone to pretend nothing happened in that ring. When Amara finally says yes to an interview, she chooses carefully. Not the loudest network, not the flashiest platform, but one known for letting people speak without being interrupted. The host greets her warmly but wastes no time. "You've been at the center of a viral moment for days now. People want to know, what do you think this was really about?" Amara sits straight, hands folded loosely in her lap. Her voice is even, her pace unhurried. This isn't about one fighter or one gym. This is about a system that decides who gets the opportunities and who doesn't. It's about who gets paid, who gets promoted, and who gets forgotten. She explains the structural barriers most viewers never see. How women's bouts are marketed differently. How pay gaps stretch into triple digits. How gym politics often place connections over merit. She talks about opportunity erosion. The slow wearing down of a career not because of ability but because doors never open in the first place. She never raises her voice. She doesn't call names. But the precision of her language makes the points hit harder than any punch. When bias is built into the structure, she says, you don't need to tell someone they don't belong. You just make it impossible for them to stay. The host nods, leaning forward. What would you change? Transparency. Accountability. Equal investment. If a gym or a promoter can't prove they give fair chances, they shouldn't have a license to operate. We treat safety as non-negotiable in boxing. Fairness should be the same. Clips of the interview are online before the segment ends. Viewers call her words surgical, calm but devastating, undeniable. The hashtags shift again, now mixed with calls for reform, petitions circulating for oversight in the sport. Amara logs off quietly. She's not interested in trending. She's interested in change. The interview lands like a stone in still water, ripples spreading outward. Within 24 hours, 3 minor sponsors announce they're reevaluating their partnerships with the gym. A major sportswear brand removes its logo from the gym's website entirely, releasing a short statement about their commitment to equity in athletics. Local sports officials announce they will look into the gym's practices. It's careful language, but reporters latch on, pressing for details. Behind the gym's doors, panic brews. Emails fly between executives. Emergency meetings are called. Someone suggests offering Amara a fight contract to smooth things over. Someone else says it's too late for that. The leadership tries another public statement, longer this time, heavy on corporate phrasing about shared values and community spirit. But it lands flat. Every time they speak, someone replies with the leaked texts, the clip, or quotes from her interview. Investigative pieces dig deeper. They uncover that, in the last 5 years, less than 5% of the gym's officially promoted fighters have been women. Of those, none have been paid at the same rate as their male counterparts. The numbers become headlines. The headlines become talking points. On social media, the call for action gets louder. Athletes from other sports weigh in, pointing out similar patterns in their own industries. An Olympic medalist tweets, "What's happening to Amara is what happens everywhere. She just caught it on camera." The gym's owner, usually a smiling fixture at local events, stops making public appearances. The front desk staff are told to politely decline media requests. But the pressure doesn't ease, it builds. Each day brings a new article, a new leaked account, a new demand from sponsors or sports authorities. The tide has turned, and no amount of spin will push it back. The moment in the ring was the spark. Now the fire is everywhere. The conference room smells faintly of coffee and carpet cleaner. The blinds are half drawn, letting in strips of light that fall across a long wooden table. Around it sit athletic commission officials in crisp suits. A handful of professional fighters and community advocates with thick folders in front of them. Amara takes the empty chair at the far end. She doesn't fidget. She doesn't make small talk. When the chairperson nods for her to begin, she leans forward, forearms resting lightly on the table. "I'm not here to talk about what happened in one gym," she says. "I'm here to talk about how it keeps happening everywhere." She outlines her proposal with the same precision she used in the ring. Short, direct combinations of words. Equal training opportunities, backed by documented schedules. Transparent pay structures, made public so disparities can't hide. Anti-bias oversight, with committees that include active athletes, not just executives. An official interrupts to ask if such oversight would be practical. Amara's gaze doesn't waver. Practical is knowing every fighter gets a fair chance before they step into a ring. Practical is not letting talent go to waste because someone didn't fit a stereotype. One of the other fighters, a veteran with silver at his temples, nods in agreement. "She's right," he says. "We've all seen it. Some of us kept quiet. That's on us." The conversation shifts. People ask questions, raise concerns, and she answers each one with the same calm firmness. She doesn't demand special treatment. She demands fairness as a baseline. By the time she's done, the air in the room feels different. Not settled but moved. Her voice never rises. Her demands never soften. The message is clear. She's not here to negotiate away the point. It takes weeks of meetings, drafts, and debates. But eventually the announcement comes. The athletic commission holds a press conference in a hall packed with reporters and cameras. A spokesperson reads from a prepared statement. Effective immediately, all gyms seeking competition licenses must comply with new inclusion policy. These include mandatory equal access training schedules, public reporting of fighter pay, and independent oversight committees with active athlete representation. The details scroll across every sports news ticker. Every clause is designed to close the gaps Amara spoke about. No more silent barriers hidden behind closed doors. The commission also announces penalties. Gyms that fail to meet the requirements risk suspension of their licenses. Repeat violations can lead to permanent bans from sanctioned competition. In the back of the hall, Amara stands with other fighters and community advocates. She doesn't step up to the podium. She doesn't give quotes for the evening news. But when the spokesperson finishes, one of the advocates squeezes her shoulder. The press calls it a landmark shift. Commentators compare it to other moments in sports when rules had to catch up to reality. Critics mutter about bureaucracy, but they're drowned out by the flood of approval from athletes who've been waiting years for change. For the first time, the rules are written to prevent what happened in that ring from happening again. Not just for women, not just for boxers, for anyone who's ever been told they weren't worth the opportunity. Later that night, Amara reads the full document alone at her kitchen table. The language is formal, the clauses numbered, but she sees the fight inside every line. She knows policy is only the start. Enforcement will be the next battle. Still, it's something real. Something on paper. And this time, no one can laugh it away. Months later, a new boxing center opens in a converted warehouse on the edge of the city. The sign above the door is simple. The ring. Inside, the air smells faintly of leather and fresh paint. The walls are lined with framed photos. Some of champions. Some of kids in oversized gloves, grinning at the camera. None of them are labeled. Here, every fighter's face matters equally. The floor space is wide and bright, with 2 full-size rings, rows of heavy bags, and a corner for beginners to learn footwork without feeling watched. The sound is a mix of jump ropes hitting the floor, gloves thudding into pads, and laughter that's genuine, not cruel. Amara moves through the space quietly, adjusting a bag's height for a young boy, correcting a teenager's stance with a light tap to the shoulder. She never raises her voice, but when she speaks, everyone listens. There are no tryouts to walk in the door. No whispered jokes about who belongs. The only rule posted on the wall reads, "Respect is mandatory." No one here mentions the viral clip. Not because they've forgotten, but because they don't need to. The reason this place exists is in the way sparring partners switch gloves without question, in the way new fighters are paired with veterans who want them to succeed, not fail. Late one evening, when the gym is almost empty, Amara stands in the center of the ring, looking out at the space she's built. The ropes creak softly under her hands. This ring isn't for proving someone wrong. It's for making sure no one has to. And though she never says it aloud, everyone who trains here knows exactly where it started